Let's talk about that one part of running an art business that we hate, and that's pricing. Stick around today and I'm going to share with you what I have learned about pricing my own artwork over the years. Hi, my name's Betty with Betty Franks Art, and I'm really excited to be here today to talk with you about pricing. Now, I know pricing for a lot of folks who are just getting started is really hard, and it was really hard for me too. I couldn't figure out what I should be pricing my artwork at, and of course it came at a time when somebody wanted to purchase a piece of art from me and I had no idea what my pricing structure was. So I had to learn very quickly what I should be pricing it at, and then also I had spent a lot of time doing research and trying to figure all of that out. Now, it took me a while to do that, and I did that through a lot of research online, through reading books, and also checking out who the other folks who are also very similar to the type of art that I was producing at the time. And of course, keep in mind that I was just getting started. So I was looking at other artists who were similar to me and kind of at the same level as me because they were just getting started too. I looked at what their pricing was and kind of worked it backwards, trying to figure out what my pricing should be. So a couple of ways that you can be pricing your artwork. One of them is you can be doing it by the square inch, or you can be doing it by the linear inch. There are advantages to both. The square inch is probably the most common way to do it, where you come up with a dollar amount per square inch. So you're basically multiplying let's say you've got a canvas and you're multiplying that out. So length times width gives you the square inches in that particular painting, and then you multiply it by a dollar amount that's going to give you the price. Now, the thing with square inch is that your really small pieces, your pricing may not be high enough on those, and then your really large pieces, the pricing might be way too far out there. So I use the square inch, and I do it kind of on a curve so that my smaller pieces, and the curve I guess is an inverted curve. Not even an inverted curve. I guess it kind of goes more like this, where my smaller pieces are priced a little bit higher, so the dollar amount is a little bit higher per square inch, and then my really large pieces, the dollar amount per square inch is a bit lower. Now with the linear inch, you don't have to worry about that. So with linear inch, you're taking the length plus the width, and honestly, I don't know the entire calculation, but it's a little bit different than square inch. What I'm going to do for you is I'm going to include a link down below so that you can read up on the two different types of ways that you can figure out your pricing, whether you want per square inch or per linear inch. Now, one thing that I've learned is that the best way to do pricing is to take the emotion out of it. And the way you're going to take the emotion out of it is by putting it down in writing, on a paper, on your computer, on your phone. You need to have it somewhere so that when somebody asks how much is a 36 by 36, for example, you get your list, you go down, you say, oh, 36 by 36, it's this price. So you're not frantically searching for a price, and you're taking the emotion out of it. Once you set your prices, stick with them. And I know this is hard when you're getting started, because this is what I did. I put down a price, and then when somebody asked, then I'd be like, oh, God, that seems like a lot. I don't know if I should be, maybe I should lower it a little bit. Or, or maybe that's not enough. I don't know, maybe I should raise it. So you're gonna make yourself crazy doing that. Don't do that. Don't do what I did. And what you can do is just get that spreadsheet put together. It could be in writing, it could be in your notebook, just as long as you have it somewhere. Me personally, I put together a spreadsheet, and that's because I love spreadsheets. My background is in corporate America, and I used a ton of spreadsheets, and so I'm very quick at creating formulas in there and putting them together so that I can track information, or I can have a spreadsheet for my pricing. So if you are like me and you like to do spreadsheets, I highly recommend it. And actually, once you get it in there and you've got a formula, it's super easy to pull down your formula and have all your pricing. And what you can do is just list your most common sizes. You don't need to list every single size that's available out there. List the ones that you use most frequently, and then if you end up doing a commission that's a different size, then you can certainly figure out the pricing for that. So that's my recommendation. Spreadsheet, take the emotions out of it, and count on that spreadsheet to give you the information that you need, and don't have it sway you one way or another. One of the questions that I get is, should I include shipping in my pricing? Now, when I was starting out, I had no idea what shipping would entail in terms of prices. So what I did was I really kind of ate the cost of shipping in the beginning. And fortunately, in the beginning, I was doing a lot of smaller pieces, so it wasn't too bad. But what I did was I listed my price. This is my price, and shipping is included for the US and Canada, but then overseas, I had to kind of work on that and figure that out. By not including it right away, you've got some time to figure out your shipping. And I know that's a big area for folks, and I'll do a video on shipping as well that'll include packaging your art, but also just talking about shipping in general. So look for that soon. But getting back to including shipping in your pricing. So the first year that I was selling art kind of on a more consistent basis, I was keeping track on my phone. Every time I went to FedEx or the post office, I would write down what was the size of the artwork, what was the dimensions of the box, what was the weight of the box, and where was it going. This helped me over a period of time understand what the pricing is if I was shipping East Coast versus West Coast versus Midwest, and also versus Canada. So I started keeping track of all this, and then the next year I was able to say, this is my price plus shipping. So it's up to you. The other way you can do it is you can certainly do a lot of research on shipping prices and start keeping track of that so that you can incorporate that into your shipping, or excuse me, into your price, and be able to say, this is the price plus shipping. Now, the other thing you can do is you can certainly pad your prices a bit. So let's say you want to do it at, I'm going to go with a general number, $1 per square inch. So if you're doing $1 per square inch, then maybe you should up that to maybe $1.25 per square inch or $1.10 per square inch, so that you're covering shipping, and you can still say shipping is included because you've raised that price. So those are a couple of different ways that you can do that. You got to figure out one that is going to work best for you. Now let's talk about raising your prices or dropping your prices. Let's talk about dropping prices first. So when you are setting up your prices, you want to be careful that you are not setting them so high that you discover that you need to lower your prices, because lowering is a lot worse than raising your prices. You never want to lower your prices. So find a spot that you think is comfortable for you, and then work with those prices for a period of time. Maybe it's a month, maybe it's 2 months, maybe it's 3 months, and then decide if you need to raise them. Now, if you've got pricing that you feel comfortable with, maybe you keep it for a year. For example, for me, I tend to raise my prices at the beginning of each year. And sometimes I skip a year, depending on where I am with my pricing and if I'm feeling comfortable. Now, a couple of different ways or indicators that you should be raising your prices is, one is if you sell something and you are feeling resentful, you're feeling like, oh, I shouldn't have let that go for that price, that's an indicator that you should be raising your prices. The other indicator, and I get this one sometimes, is people tell me my prices are too low. And I agree with them. My prices are too low, but I feel comfortable with where my prices are. So for me, I don't think they're too low, but I am raising them year over year. And I raise them by about 20%, 10 to 20% year over year. So for me, that's very comfortable. I feel confident about my prices when I raise them a little bit at a time, year over year. So you've got to do what you feel comfortable doing. If you want to raise them 30 or 40% because you feel like you're so low, then do that. But just know that you've got to be really comfortable with that, and you don't want to end up lowering your prices once you raise them. So consider that. Now, depending on what state you're located in or country, there may or may not be taxes that you need to include. You need to do some research and figure that out. I am in California, and that means that anything that I sell within the state of California, I have to charge taxes for that. And I have to pay quarterly sales tax for all of the money that I take from folks who have purchased from me. If you are somebody's purchasing art from you that are located in a different state, if you're in the United States, or outside of the United States, then I do not charge tax. That may change in the coming years. I know that there's some legislation that is gearing towards wanting to charge tax regardless of what state that the customer is located in. However, there is a cap on that, and I think it's $100,000. So if you're doing sales of $100,000 or more, I think you're going to fall into that category. But if you're just under that, then you will not have to collect and pay sales tax for folks who are purchasing from you from a different state. One last thing that I want to leave you with, and that is, don't justify your prices. So I know that that's a hard one when you're getting started, because certainly a lot of that went through my head whenever somebody asked me for the price of a certain piece. Immediately in my head I start justifying why it should be at that price. You don't want to do that. You don't want to verbalize that. You want to just state your price, put it out there, and if that person was meant to have your art, they're going to pay that price and they're going to be ecstatic to have your art in their home. So keep from justifying why you're setting your price as you are for anybody who wants to purchase. Okay folks, I hope I covered some of your questions about pricing, and certainly if you've got additional questions that I didn't cover in this video, please put a note down below in the comments section. Ask your questions. I am more than happy to answer and respond. I reply to every single comment that is posted. And also, if you like this video or you like my series of videos that I'm doing for running an art business, then give me a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribing already, I welcome you to subscribe. I've got a ton of videos on creating art, and then I've got these videos that I'm now starting to roll out that is all about art marketing and running an art business. Thank you so much for being here today, and I hope that you have a super fabulous day.